Hi, everybody. It is Tiffany with the Fatigue Fix talking to you today about the three keys to master your energy for optimal health. And so I have to pull up some notes here just to keep me on track for this. But this is something I talk about on a regular basis. And the frustrating part for me, and when I was going through all of my health issues, and still can be kind of my number one thing to get me down is my energy. Basically, if you don't have your energy, it's really hard to get your health back in whatever way that may look like for you, depending on where your symptoms fall. So, today we're going to talk about that and figure out what to do. And honestly, I talk all the time about it's about getting back to basics. It's about getting back to basics and understanding how your body functions and then doing things to help it do that. Right? So that is kind of the goal here. So first, before I get going on this, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. So my background is biology, anatomy, and physiology. I used to teach high school levels of those things. And with that, I was always feeling extremely exhausted, extremely depressed, anxious. I struggled with these symptoms for years. And even in my early 20s, I was told that I'm just getting older. I just needed to relax a little bit more. I needed to stress less. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? I'm just kind of going through life. And it made sense that when I was in college that I was stressed out because I was juggling working a lot and I was taking full credit of really difficult classes. My dad was ill and he was in the hospital on a regular basis. So that was an added stress. So those things made sense. But I had been feeling a lot of those symptoms for way earlier in my life, way before that was a factor of being in college. So I just kept struggling and struggling and struggling. Even after having a couple of children, I was working, going through just the normal mom things, right? We're busy moms. It made sense again that like if your child isn't sleeping at night, that you would be tired or that you're juggling a bunch of things. It makes sense that you're tired, but there was a different level of tired and energy and fatigue. It was debilitating. I can only describe it as pregnancy fatigue. That's the only thing that even kind of compares to what I was feeling, but that doesn't actually tell you the whole picture. So if you understand that type of fatigue, I want you to put that in the comments, write the word fatigue, please. Because most of you are here because you are struggling with some kind of energy and then or energy levels that are lower than you'd like them to be. And that is what you're going to learn about today, about some of the basic things you can do to get things in check. Okay. So another thing, please let me know if you are live or watching replay. It helps me get the information of who wants to hear what, and it helps get this information out there. So I appreciate that. And then we need to talk a little bit about who this is for. So are you struggling with lack of energy and a myriad of symptoms, and you go to the doctor to try to get support and help, and you maybe walk away with antidepressants, you maybe walk away with anti-anxieties, you may be told that you need to eat less calories if fatigue and weight loss is a part of your problem or your frustration. Usually your labs come back normal. So if that sounds like you, this is who needs to be hearing this today, because that was me. And when I got to the point of actually getting diagnosed with thyroid cancer years down the road after struggling for, I want to say 20 years, probably, I would say at least 20 years, struggled and struggled and struggled. And I stupidly thought that once I had this diagnosis of cancer, thyroid cancer, and we all know that when people are struggling with weight loss or energy, and hair loss and that kind of thing, the first thing they think of, it must be my thyroid. But guess what? All my thyroid labs always came back normal, always. So I stupidly thought that a diagnosis of thyroid cancer would change everything for me. I was excited to finally have an answer. I wasn't excited about the cancer piece, but I was excited about having an answer that probably explained all of the things I was frustrated with. And I would do the treatment, I would do the surgery, I would take my medication, I would do everything I needed to do, which I did, followed all the doctor's orders, all my labs, all my follow-ups, all my appointments, all my medications, and I got worse. I absolutely got worse. And so I had to fight. I had to self-advocate. I had to push. I had to kick and scream. I cried in my car after almost every doctor appointment, feeling defeated and frustrated and feeling like that I just couldn't imagine living like how I was feeling and actually functioning in life. It seemed unattainable. Like it wasn't even a possible thing. And so that is who this is for. Are you a fighter? Are you going to be stubborn? Are you going to self-advocate? Are you going to do what you need to do or what it takes to help yourself? And like I said a million times, it goes back to the basics sometimes. We overcomplicate things all the time. That's something I want to address in a second. Who this is not for, if you're looking for a magic pill or potion, and I know sometimes people get through in this group where they're promoting some kind of quick fix miracle thing that they happen to be able to, get you to sell, and they get a cut of what you sell, all that, whatever those companies are. Sometimes people sneak through and they will post on my post about, helping someone with their energy or whatever. And that is not who this is for. If you're looking for those types of things, this is not for you. If you are looking for one thing that's going to solve all your problems, this is not who this is for. Nothing is like that. And if you are being told that, you're being sold a bill of goods, basically. There's got to be a holistic process in order to help you overcome the symptoms. If you really want to get to the root of the root cause, right? We need to go deep into the why behind what you're feeling. And there's several layers of that. I don't know that I've ever seen in the last 11 or so years, one magic bullet that has really helped solve all of everybody's problems. Okay. So you need to have the layers, and you need someone to help you figure this out. And this is why people keep struggling. It drives me crazy because people get so myopic and they get so sidetracked by what they appear, or what things that appear to be the quick fix and the end all be all answer to all of that person's, problems. And that's not how it is. And it's a lot of times because we're not being listened to, or we're being listened to by people who maybe they don't feel as sick as you. Maybe they don't have as many symptoms or the same health condition or diagnoses or autoimmune condition that you have. Or maybe you have something that is not diagnosed yet, and it's something underlying. And when your well-meaning friend or family member says, this is what worked for me, and then you're defeated because it doesn't, it's because you're not being listened to. So you look and search for those things to help you get better. And it doesn't work very often. Rarely does it actually work. And sometimes it'll take some symptoms away temporarily, but as soon as you stop taking the powder or the drink or the whatever, your symptoms ramp up again. That is what you need to do to try to avoid this and help you correct the problems, get into, like I said, the root of the root cause. Okay. The other thing is that we overcomplicate things. That's why I always say, get back to basics. Get back to basics with your health, your nutrition, your sleep, that's what we're talking about today, right? Sometimes you have to dial in and change things up. And if you are not willing to do that, or if you just say, I can't do that, or that's impossible, or whatever, then what I would say is that sometimes maybe, I say this with love, sometimes maybe we're not ready to make the changes, or maybe we don't feel bad enough. We maybe haven't found our rock bottom. Because sometimes I get people on the phone, they talk to me about their symptoms, and they put up all these barriers of why they can't, make a breakfast, or why they can't eat lunch, or whatever it might be. And it's like, you have to give a little bit. It doesn't have to be that hard. It doesn't have to be that hard. You don't have to be in your own way. And that's usually what happens because we overcomplicate things all the time. Get back to basics. start from scratch. And often we don't have the right support. Like I said, we have well-meaning friends. We have, sometimes we have well-meaning healthcare professionals, but maybe they don't have the right time and the right setup in their practices to be able to actually support people. This is where people fall off. This is where people stay and struggle. And it's really super annoying because people stay stuck and they stay sick and they don't even believe that things can be better. They don't even believe that it's there for them. And I just want to be the person to tell you that is not true. I was that person. I just, there was a little glimmer of me thinking there's no way in hell that I can be in my early 30s and this is how my life is supposed to be. There's just no way, because I actually have the best healthcare supposedly in the world for what my situation was and dealing with what I was dealing with regard to the thyroid cancer. But I just couldn't believe, because overall I was healthier in general. Like no one would have seen me and thought, oh my gosh, she looks terribly sick. This is horrible. It was all these underlying root things, these root causes that were causing me to feel like I could not even function. I did not have the right support and I had to do it myself. And that's where I hope people, if you're listening, if you're watching this, whether it's live or replay, and if you've been anywhere near where I've been, or even if you're, it's probably not thyroid cancer, maybe it's something else, or maybe it is thyroid cancer. If you are sort of at your rock bottom, I hope that you have some glimmer of hope that it can be better. And if you don't, hopefully following in this group, following along, coming to the trainings, asking questions, that kind of thing. I hope that gives you some hope and like just a little light at the end of the tunnel that you can at least reach for and look for and get the support on, because you can feel better. That may look different for you than it did for me or from other people, but it is possible. So if you don't get anything else from this video today, I want you to hear that, okay? There's got to be something that can help you feel and improve your symptoms. And this is why I created the Fatigue Fix programs. I didn't, of course, know that that's what they were called back in the day, but that's what they came to be. And it was basically developed because I had to dig in to dealing with my health issues, because I found out very quickly, but it took me 3 years to respond to really believe that, okay, I actually am not going to get the help I need. I'm getting my meds, I'm getting my labs for dealing with my thyroid cancer, I'm getting my images, but I'm not getting the support to actually feel like a human being. I had to do that on my own. Okay. So when I asked my, I don't know how to explain it. He was the top guy in the department that I was working with at a world-renowned facility. And I said, I can't feel like this any longer. I feel like I can barely function. I barely can go to work every day. I barely can get a shower in every day. I have 2 small children. Like I can barely handle my life. And when I said, what about my food? I feel like I eat pretty well, but I know that I could probably improve. I just don't know exactly what or where to start. And when he said to me, someone who has way more biochemistry than I have, when he said to me that food doesn't affect how you feel, I knew that's where I needed to start. And that's why I'm here today, helping people like you, talking to people about their nutrition on a deeper level, not just about calories in, calories out. We're getting way deep with the nutrients and the biochemistry in order to help you feel and function your best. That is what my programs are all about. And then there's hand holding and there's support and there's resources for you to do just that. That's what this is about. All right. So the topic at hand today, we're going to talk about the 3 keys to master your energy, because if you don't have your energy, you're going to be really struggling to get that optimal health that you deserve to have and that you can have. Okay, so if you feel like you've not had the right support, I want you to comment support. Okay, let me know if you feel like you just do not get the support, or you get kind of pushed off, you get told your labs are normal. I want you to comment support below. The first thing I want to talk about now is about stress. I want to talk about stress and make people understand that this is something that is no joke when it comes to our health. And we need to actually understand that this absolutely impacts our health. It absolutely has an effect on our symptoms. And we need to actually do something about it. Okay. So I just want to talk about some things with regard to stress. Everybody knows what stress is. Every person has a thing that's stressful in their day every single day. Maybe it is the fact that you wake up feeling like absolute garbage. That alone is stressful. Maybe you hate your job, or maybe you love your job, but it's busy, busy, busy. It's 12 hours a day, nonstop, lots of deadlines. All of those things are stress. Okay, the top 5 stressors that people go through in their lifetimes that absolutely can impact their health, whether it's temporary or long-term, are these 5 things. There's death, divorce, moving, illness, and job loss. All of those things have a huge impact on your health. I know people who have tragically lost loved ones and had their chronic stress manifest in physical symptoms. That is not uncommon, and it is connected. If you are someone who maybe has had a stressful, 2 years of a job project, or maybe a family illness or whatever, something that's been going on for a couple years, or doesn't have to be exactly 2 years, but you get my point, where it's been kind of ongoing, chronic. That long-term stress creates disease. And I've seen it a million times where this has happened, and then people actually are then diagnosed with some kind of autoimmune disorder, maybe a year or 2 after that, chronic stress. It happens, and it's common for this to happen. So if you don't figure out where your stress is and then try to mitigate it, try to combat it, try to support your body so that your body can handle the stress, you're going to probably end up with a variety of symptoms, maybe diagnosed with a condition or not, but you'll have a lot of symptoms that you will be frustrated with, and will feel like, oh, you're just getting older. That's what you'll be told. You're just getting older. It's just what, how your body works now, or you're hormonal or whatever. It'll just be passed off. So this is where you can take charge, take control, and start to actually support yourself. This long-term stress is causing disease. Okay. It causes dis-ease in your body. And the other thing that we need to understand, we cannot compartmentalize. Our bodies do not compartmentalize this kind of stress into, any kind of stress into good or bad. So if you love your job, that's a really good example. I hear people say, oh my gosh, it's so busy and so stressful, but I just love what I do. That stress doesn't matter. It still shows up in your body. It doesn't care if it's a good stress. It doesn't say, oh, well, they really like their job, so we'll just function better anyway, even with all the stress and the lack of sleep and the poor food and the whatever. That has to be understood. So your body doesn't care if you are dealing with horrible traffic and those instant acute stressors that your body manages, or if it is the long-term everyday chronic stress. It doesn't call it inside good or bad, right? It doesn't recognize it either way. You have to deal with all the stress in your body. And I know that probably sounds insurmountable, but you need to take it step by step. So let's just talk a little bit about how the anatomy and the physiology of stress works. You probably have heard of adrenal health. Everybody seems to, think and feel like they have some level of what they call adrenal fatigue, which isn't an actual official diagnosis, but it is an example of a cluster of symptoms, or it's a cluster of symptoms that people have when their stress is sort of out of control and their bodies can't keep up with managing it. So our adrenal glands are these tiny little, like almond-sized or walnut-sized glands, organs that sit right on top of our kidneys. So you can, if you put your fist right behind your back, that's basically where your kidneys are. And then on top of that, they're like little hats that sit right on top of your kidneys. And they produce things in the inside and the outside parts of the actual adrenal gland. They will produce things like cortisol, epinephrine, which is like adrenaline, and norepinephrine. Those are chemical messengers to help your body function and to power through different types of things that come our way. So, for example, if you are on the highway and someone pulls out in front of you and you have to react and respond, you all have probably been in a situation like that where you feel your heart racing, your stomach kind of quivers, you might start sweating, you might have like this feeling like shaky and stuff like that. That is an adrenaline rush. And that was designed to help you react and respond to that stressful event, which was a near car collision. And then your body should shut down from that, right? So it helped you respond. It helped you put all the energy and the blood flow towards reacting and responding to that situation. And then your body should calm back, sit back and relax. The problem is that we are living in that acute adrenaline response day to day, minute by minute, hour to hour. We are constantly running away from that proverbial saber-tooth tiger. This is where that whole adaptive and compensatory mechanism gets hijacked, and it messes with our normal circadian rhythms. That is why many of you probably feel like you have zero energy in the morning. You feel like you've never slept, but then you have energy at 10 p.m. and then you cannot break this vicious cycle. This is what needs to be assessed. Okay, this is what needs to be dealt with. And I do this. You can do testing on this. You can do, it's usually expensive. You can get this all figured out and take a look at it from like biochemical things. But I do this in my one-on-ones with people so that they can, we can fill in the gaps. We can change their patterns accordingly, just with lifestyle foods, nutrients, herbs, that kind of thing, without having to do some of that expensive testing. I love me some testing, don't get me wrong, but I won't test unnecessary things if we can address them with, just lifestyle types of things. Okay. So we can do a little assessment on that if you want to, check that out. I want you to put app in the comments. And then that is a part of what we can do in your like intro assessment. We can kind of figure out where you are and how it would be best to start working together, if that makes sense for you. So what we need to do in order to crack the health code, right? This is about managing the stress. And I want to explain how we can do this. We need to understand our stress pattern, our stress management pattern. And like I said, if you wake up in the morning and you feel like you could hit the snooze button 100 times, and then you drag through the day, maybe you have a little peak of energy sometime throughout the day. And then at bedtime, when you're supposed to be shutting down, you can't go to sleep. This is a problem. We need to adjust that stress management pattern. And I have ways that I work with people on a regular basis in order for them to help adjust this pattern. But the first thing we need to do is start to manage our self-care. So that might sound kind of frivolous, because I think a lot of times self-care, people are talking about massages, getting their nails done, things like that. If that feels good to you, absolutely keep doing that, or start doing that, whatever it might be. But the bottom line is you have to do things and incorporate things in your day-to-day that actually help to balance the nervous system. Because when we are constantly in this fight or flight and then maybe freeze mode, which a lot of people get into, we cannot build resilience. We cannot create health from that space of being in that fight or flight mode. We can't be creating health in a tired and wired state. You just can't. You have to balance your nervous system out. We have two sides of the nervous system. One side that is sort of excitatory, that helps us power through the day, helps us clear thinking, keeps our cognitive skills on check. Then our inhibitory side helps to calm that down. So for example, when you go back to the example of that near miss car accident on the highway, that excitatory nervous system, that is your your sympathetic nervous system, it gets in there and helps you react and respond. It sends out the adrenaline so that you can do what you need to do to keep yourself safe. But then when that passes, and there's no more adrenaline being pumped out, hopefully, then the other side of the nervous system, the parasympathetic side of the nervous system, starts to activate to help calm that down. So if you have an adrenaline rush and that you are feeling like you're high on adrenaline all day long, that is not how you're able to create healing. You're not going to get healthy in that state. So if you don't start implementing self-care strategies, minimum of 5 to 10 minutes a day, especially if you haven't even started looking into this, you need to do this now. This has to be a non-negotiable. This has to be part of your process from day one. So what I like to do, there's an app, there's a bunch of these. So this is just the one, I've tried them all. This is just the one that I personally like the best. I'm not affiliated with them or anything like that, but it's called Insight Timer. I've been using it for years. Sometimes I'm better at using it than others, but they have timed like calming, like whether it's meditations or prayers. I mean, you can search pretty much everything in there. I have the paid version. I think it's like $60 a year. The free version is pretty good too, at least good for trialing it, but that has different sounds. It has, like rainforest or ocean waves or whatever. So you can do kind of anything you want, but start doing something like that, 5 to 10 minutes a day. I think it even has meditations or prayers for very specific things. And I haven't looked at it now for a while, but you can search like stress or anxiety, meditation for anxiety of an illness, or meditation for dealing with a loss or like job loss. I mean, it's very specific. I'm guessing that's the paid version one that you can do with that. But if anybody else has used Insight Timer, comment Insight Timer. And if you have another app that you like to use, like there's Calm, or I don't know what the other one's called, Astra maybe. I can't remember what it's called, but comment the app that you use for these types of things. So now self-care doesn't have to be meditation or prayer or whatever, but maybe it looks like reading. Maybe you get back to reading the Bible. Maybe you get back to reading just for fun. Maybe you like to read fiction and never really have time to read fiction. Whatever it may be, start doing those things and piggyback those habits, like just kind of start layering them on all the other good things that you might be doing to help support this whole stress management process in your body. Okay, so self-care. If you need to start with self-care, I want you to comment self-care in the comments. Everybody should be commenting self-care because everybody needs to be doing that for sure. All right, the next thing that we need to dial in is our sleep. And I know that sounds easier said than done for most people. So with regard to sleep, we have to understand that it's about quantity and quality. Okay, we need to have both quantity and quality. So the quantity piece of it, studies show that most people need between 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Women tend to need a little bit more. And I know that there's people out there that will say, my body just doesn't shut down. My body doesn't need that much. If that's a pattern, like a lifelong pattern, and you are relatively healthy, then that's fine. That might be your pattern. My oldest daughter is that way. She, from the time she was an infant, has not needed sleep, not taken long naps, just never was that person. But it's still a little bit of a struggle when she wants to. So her body just does not shut down. So there are, people that are just kind of naturally like that. And that if that's you and you're relatively healthy, then that's probably fine. The reason why the quantity is important as well as the quality is because this is our time to rest, restore, recover. This is when our body's hormones will be naturally produced and optimized, and muscle repair is happening. Everything is sort of resetting while we sleep. And if we are not getting quality and quantity of sleep, you're not doing those things. You're not producing the good hormones. You're not repairing tissues, so this is why it's so important. So don't dismiss stress as a problem in your life. Do not dismiss the amount of sleep you're getting, or like you don't get an award for only needing 5 hours of sleep or being able to function, burn the candle at both ends, on 5 hours of sleep. That's not bragging rights. No one's going to give you a medal or an award for that. So work to get more, right? So the first thing I would say people need to do is work on sleep hygiene. So that might look like shutting your phone down or putting your phone in a different room, not sleeping by it, shutting down the lights for like the TV and computer screens and that kind of thing because of how it affects the production of melatonin. You can do all those kinds of things. You might need to do some, I don't know, maybe it's stretching, maybe it's prayers, maybe it's reading, anything you could do to sort of calm everything down so that you can become, rested and, get more tired sleep. Maybe it's by drinking some herbal teas, make sure there's no caffeine in it. Doing some other kind of sleep hygiene things like taking a hot shower. Sometimes that's calming for people, before they get into bed. Those types of things can help you with shutting down and getting your body hyped up for sleep, right? Getting it ready for sleep. So once you do that, sometimes people need support. A lot of times people are taking magnesium. There's, some people are overdoing the whole melatonin thing, which I think melatonin is great, but I'm seeing a lot of people overdoing it with that. So just don't always think that that is the only thing you can do for sleep. There's other herbs as well that could be beneficial for calming the body down. And you can kind of look at those on an as needed basis, but don't start taking melatonin because you hear about it and then never change anything else. That's not helping the root cause. Yes, that might support you and get you through for a time, but you need to still put the other things in play. The things that you can control, like your TV screens, computers, phones, whatever, you can control a lot of that, right? So you have to do some implementation of those things to actually get benefit from that. So with regard to sleep, oh, sorry, I didn't change the thing. With regard to sleep, tell me in the comments how many hours you're getting. Just throw out the number. Hopefully it's in hours, right? So put down 7, put down 8, put down 9. Whatever is sort of your average sleep. I have this Oura ring. I have it on my thumb just because it's so thick. It's easier to keep on my thumb. And it tells me a lot of things. It tells me a lot of things, and it really shows and explains my behavior and how it affects my sleep with regard to the different stages of sleep. And there's all kinds of other sleep trackers out there. But what you do if you are interested or if you've been on the fence of getting something like that, I recommend you do, because it really tells us a whole story. It shows where your stress is during the day. It shows, if you had like a late night meal, and if it was like a poor quality meal and you had, very unrestful sleep, or if you're really tossing and turning, that goes to show and explain to you that you on a regular basis need to move that meal up in the day. You shouldn't eat right before bed kind of thing. That all those kinds of things explain. If you have, a glass of wine every night and then you have poor recovery in your sleep, there's a connection. And then you need to make changes and adjustments to you if you are frustrated with your health, right? If it's once in a while that happens, that's one thing. But if it's on a regular basis, and I hear that regularly, a lot of people are going to like a glass of wine or two with dinner every night, or maybe after dinner, kind of to unwind. We need to look at other tools that we can use that are actually going to be beneficial for us and then don't take away from our health on top of it. So this is all information you can have to make choices, and you can do one thing at a time to improve your health and healing. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about, and this is my wheelhouse, right? This is sort of how I started everything that I'm doing with my personal health, with my business, with helping you, is knowing your nutrients. And this is what the nutrition that I practice, it is different than what you may be familiar with. And now it's coming to be more and more common, I believe, thank goodness, because we need to look at functional nutrition. How do the nutrients in all those wheel cycles and patterns you learned in 10th grade biology, how do those nutrients matter and help you function? And we've gotten so far away from that. And I would say so many people are talking mostly about, they take the high points of things. It's calories in, calories out. If you are someone who's followed people about weight loss, it's all about calories in, calories out, nothing else. A lot of times it's about, oh, you should take melatonin for sleep. That's nutrition. or take magnesium because that helps with everything. That's the nutrition advice that are given to a lot of people without the true knowledge and understanding and how that will affect that individual's frustrations and needs. So with that, we need to help support this. This is what I can tell you here in just a short training, is that to support that stress management system in your body, you need to fuel your body properly with B vitamins. And you can find B vitamins in good quality animal proteins, in a variety of other healthy whole foods. Don't think that you can just go buy a product of something that says this has B vitamins on it and think that, you are doing everything you could possibly do to help your B vitamin status. So if you are constantly stressed out, if you are in a job where it's go, go, go all the time, you work all hours of the night, if you have a stressful home life for a variety of reasons, maybe you're caretaking for other people as well, besides your own kids and family, you are burning the candle at both ends. You need to absolutely fuel your adrenals properly with good, proper B vitamin intake. That may look like supplementation along with it, but if you are constantly stressed out, then your B vitamin status is always trying to fill up. You don't have enough gas in the tank to fuel those things. Another vitamin that is a part of that stress management system is vitamin C. And this is not about drinking, some orange juice is fortified with vitamin C. We're talking vitamin C foods, and it doesn't have to be just oranges. You can do obviously citrus, but also things like kiwi, strawberries, green bell peppers. Those all have good vitamin C in it. But again, that is utilized up like crazy when you are constantly stressed out. So you may need to supplement with that for a time. And that's the same thing for magnesium. The problem is with magnesium, people I just talked to someone the other day who's taking the form of magnesium that your body can't even absorb. It's the one that's used in milk of magnesia to help you go to the bathroom. So we need to know what we're supposed to be taking. So if you need help on determining good quality of B vitamins, vitamin C, magnesium, things like that, I want you to comment vitamins below. Comment vitamins below, and I can get some information to you. And then when we have our nutrition dialed in, which is, you might need to baby step things, we can do functional labs for some of this stuff, which is amazing. It gets people faster results. Or you can just start with kind of basics and work up from there. Start with those 3 nutrients I just mentioned, the B vitamins, vitamin C, magnesium. But when we have our nutrients in check, we are decreasing the inflammation in our body. We're balancing our blood sugars. And this is going to allow us to create the health that we need. This is going to be a huge factor in you actually getting better. So what are your next steps? Just like I've said a few times here, reach out. Let me know if you need support with understanding some vitamins and wanting some good sources of the vitamins. So comment vitamins below. And then if you want more hand holding and you want a very specific process to help you get to the next level and to learn about your body or what's good for you, what you need to do, not what is just like cookie cutter for everybody out there, comment app below. Comment app. I will send you a link to a 5-minute video. It's not even 5 minutes probably, that explains how my programs work. The form takes about a minute to fill out. And if it makes sense for us, we could have a conversation just even in the messaging app, or we can get on a phone call, whatever you want to do. And we can talk about what is the good plan and process for you to actually overcome your health problems, get healed, create that resilience in your body so that you can be healthy and have an actual plan to get you going there. That is what your next step should be. So if that sounds like you, comment app below and I'll make sure to get you that link. All right, so that is going to be it for today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching live or replay. I appreciate all of that. Make sure you let me know whether you're live or replay. And then I'll be back next week with another topic that you have voted on. All right, have an amazing rest of your day.